Welcome everyone, my name is Spades. Today we're gonna talk about Boulder. I've been cooking with the build a little bit, cleaning up my build of the season, and I'm gonna continue to tier craft on the build. I started leveling with the build and the build is incredibly strong. I leveled really quickly, the speed of the build is unmatched, the mobility it has, really good single target, and in terms of AoE clear it's good. It struggles when the mobs are becoming really tanky. So if you are very well geared or gear well, then when you shred enemies, then it's great. But if enemies are really tanky, like Infernal Hordes and tier 8, my gear was not good enough. But let's go over what we have tried today. I went with a shape-shifting version that is really easy to play, as it will always keep the buff of Wild Heart Hunger up. And how do we achieve that? Well, pretty much we play with Shred and Boulder. Boulder being a Werebear skill, and Shred being werewolf skills. So being able to just pretty much jump and shift, and really all you do is press Hurricane, press Boulder, Shred to an enemy, Boulder, just keep up the Boulder pretty much, and the build is really strong. We have Cataclysm with no cooldown. It has the same duration as the cooldown. We're gonna talk about how we achieve that later. Passively Cyclone Armor, and I have a Trample to break CC without any points in it. Let's go over a little bit to the gear that we can use for the build, the Ubers. The build actually would be best in slot without Ubers. If you are struggling with defense, you can always play Tireless Might. You're gonna lose a little bit of damage, but you're gonna be out tankier. That's, I think, for tier 8 Hordes. I wasn't dying in tier 8, but my damage wasn't good enough because my gear isn't good enough. Ring of the Starless Sky is an interesting item. It is 50% damage, but you get some stats that are not that important. Yeah, you get rank to core scale, attack speed isn't super important for the build, and lucky hit chance. I think best in slot is probably this. Hunter Zenith would be best in slot. If you have a GA Hunter Zenith with everything, when you calculate the amount of damage that you get from the willpower, the crit chance from predatory instinct, the heightened senses defense, the quick shift, it would actually be the strongest item. Minus a GA Ring of the Starless Sky. The normal ring, very similar to Ring of the Starless Sky. It's 40% damage instead of 50, but it has willpower on it, and has Boulder damage on it. On top of that, you have Cataclysm cooldown reduction, which makes the build a lot easier to play, and increases our damage, also makes the build easier to keep Cataclysm up with less gear requirement. So overall, very good. Pretty much the same as the Starless Sky. So if you don't have Starless Skies, no problem, run one with Retaliation and those stats. Also crit chance, just as good as Boulder damage. Earth crit chance are valuable stats. We have a Mjolnir ring, where you want willpower and crit chance. If you can GA, of course, the other stats don't really matter much. The move speed is amazing. We have Dormant Stone, which do not buy one like this. Do not buy one with low aspect ratio. That's where most of your damage comes from. I'm losing a third of my damage almost with this one. What you want on this item is really only Natural Magic cooldown reduction being GA, and that's it. And then you want high damage for casting Boulder. Rank to Wrath Scales, you already have a lot of ranks to Boulder, it's gonna get diluted, it's not as strong as you think it is. And one rank of Crushing Earth doesn't do anything. Unfortunately, this item is not like the Unsung Gloves, where GAing the Wrath Scales gives you 2 ranks, it only gives you 1. And for that reason, masterworking it's not very good. So overall, this item as a GA is only really needed for Natural Magic cooldown. You can also only need 2 ranks to masterwork it twice to have perfect uptime, and that's without Calm Before the Storm. We're gonna talk about Calm Before the Storm in a little bit. Pretty much, if you have 2 ranks here, and you have a ring with Cataclysm cooldown, you do not need Calm Before the Storm, you can run another boon. Otherwise, you can get a little bit of cooldown reduction for your Hurricane Cataclysm with that. I have Vasily, Insatiable Fury. Person strength bonus is important as we run that. Here, obviously, this is not a correct item. Here you would want, yes, damage to crowd control enemies. Then you want something else like Cataclysm, Hurricane Duration, Hurricane Size. CC, running the utility that CCs the enemies is the best one you can run. You want, of course, rank to core scale on this pair of gloves, and you want crit chance willpower. Or you can have max life instead of willpower if you want to go more tanky. For the pants, You can run total armor if you don't have enough armor. I would suggest willpower max life, and then you run armor on it, and then run max life on the defensive tempering, but I failed mine, and that's what we get. Thorns also is a fail. But overall, I run here 2 ranks, 245, which is not good. There's something else that we can run, I'm gonna show you in a second. So for maximum damage, that is correct. If you're running easy content, that's fine. But this aspect here, the Skinwalker aspect, makes you immortal. It's infinite HP. Infinite Fortify, infinite HP. You keep shape-shifting between Shred and Boulder, and it's insane. The boots, you want the one for 3%, and don't care about GAs, that don't really matter. You don't care about attack speed. Heightened Senses would be a good GA though. And for your item, I think a mace actually is decent, but of course, the spear with vulnerable damage would be better. You want willpower, GA, damage to card control, chance for water to projectile to cast twice, and of course two-handed on this aspect. Okay, now the boons, like I talked about, you can run Obsidian Slam if your cooldown of Cataclysm is good enough. Otherwise, you run Calm Before the Storm. I run Calamity for 25% duration, max life, crit damage, and I run CC reduction and move speed. Or you can run damage reduction if you feel like it. I feel like that after I played a little bit with things, played without trample and with trample, the best choice is this one, but feel free to run with Advantageous Beast if you feel like you're tanky enough and you want more move speed, even though you should be pretty much capped between this one and this one. That's pretty much full movement speed cap. We're gonna talk about the skills. We're gonna start with our Keystone. Earth and Strength becomes very powerful. Even the overpowered damage, honestly, if you play Obsidian Slam, becomes very valuable. It becomes a 40% damage, more if you can get another rank. I only got 2 upgrade on mine. It's very strong. 40% damage and also 30% health. That's really big. It's pretty much as valuable as Best Rampage if we cared about attack speed. We have Heightened Senses, Quick Shift, we have Defensive Posture, Defiance, and Natural Disaster as we vulnerable enemies with Cataclysm. No ranks in Trample as we get it with items. Mending Stone for the HP, but this one, honestly, I'm thinking about removing it. You will see if in the talent tree I remove it, as we don't stand all the time in bear form. If you like to play without Shred, you can, and this will be more valuable to you, but I think you'd spend like 80% time in bear form, 20% time in Shred form. So I think overall this is fine. 2 ranks in Boulder with crit chance. I run Bad Omen to run Electrocution for the 20% damage, and I run all the way 3 points to Stone Guard, 1 point on Safeguard for the 45. I run 1 point in Cyclone Armor. I do not run any point in the defensives as I do not have a good way to spam them, and the attack speed from Blood Owl is really not that great. I run Shred with Primal Shred for movement, max rank in Iron 4 and Predatory Instinct for damage, Wild Impulses, and I run Claw, which I do not use. For the Paragon board, I have a very good Paragon board that is not completely optimized, obviously, as I will improve it as I math out more. But I run with Spirit, and I take HP in everywhere pretty much. Earth and Devastation is a little bit quirky. We go Earth and Sky, and we skip getting this because we already cap with our rolls. I take Constricting Tendrils for the poison, with Outmatch for the extra HP and damage. I take Fang and Claw as my last board eventually here, but not last, the 5th. In Ancestral Guidance, which is not taken because it does not work with Cataclysm. I take Survival Instinct with Werebear, and I take Electrocution in Thunderstruck. Last board that I take is the Heightened Malice for the extra damage on AoE. I will experiment more with the board. Talking about human versus animal version. So you can run a different Helm Lucian. You can get 75% damage. You lose the Insatiable Survival Instinct, which is 60% damage, but more like 40. And then you're already close in terms of damage. The Willpower, the Defensive Posture defense makes this item incredibly powerful. Then you also lose Fang and Claw for not running that. You lose the ability to run Insatiable Fury, which is 5 ranks of scales and 8% Earth Strength bonus. That's a lot of damage loss. Overall, I do not think it's valuable, especially also the boots. Yes, you can run ranks to rough scales to Boulder on your boots, but 60% damage is a different multiplier. You already have a lot of ranks to Boulder. It is a lot more damage this way. And of course, we can keep quick shift and heightened senses up all the time with this version of the build. So overall, I think this is better than the human version, but I will math out more just in case. But on a quick math, it is a DPS loss to run human, and this build allows you to play the animal shapeshifting form. With ease, you can heal more with the Skinwalker, and you fortify a lot. So I think this build is superior to the human version, and that's why I did not do human in the past. Hope you guys liked the build, and we're gonna see more of the building game. See ya!